bringing you the latest updates pertaining to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. We're going to hear from the man who was an alleged suspect detained and then let go. Thank you. All right, everybody. So.
I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro, because they didn't tell me anything at the beginning.
Investigators showed up to this house, or were you the one who was pulled over in the traffic stop?
I was the one that was pulled over at the traffic stop.
Where was that?
Right here on by Chubasco.
Okay, and you were taken into custody at that point?
Yeah.
And you were...
I was being detained.
Detained, okay.
I was detained the whole time.
Okay,
that's what they told me.
Where were they?
At the back of a car.
Back of a
Miranda car, and then they moved me into a Pima County sheriff.
Were you being questioned in the car? Or?
At the Miranda car, I was being questioned, but they only asked me for my first name, my last name, my date of birth, and my social.
Okay. What were they asking you about?
Like my whereabouts.
Okay.
Where was I and all that. But
are you ever up in Tucson?
Yeah, I work in Tucson.
What do you do?
GLS, deliver packages.
Okay, do you think you might have delivered a package to Nancy Guthrie's house?
I don't know. Might have been a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah, do you ever deliver like Amazon packages or
anything?
No. That's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. So do you think you may have, did they indicate that you might have been on her property? You're not sure?
Nah, they just came up. They until right now, all I know is that they show my in-law a picture of somebody wearing a mask or something, mm-hmm. and they supposedly look like my eyes.
Right. Okay.
That's it. That's all I know.
Okay. Jeez. How do you think they connected that case to you?
Go ask them, bro.
Okay, so
that's something you gotta ask them. I can't answer that question.
Did they take anything from your house tonight?
No, I don't know. All I can say is they took my phone.
Took your phone.
Right.
You don't have your phone right now.
You heard there just a part of those comments from the man who says that they were detained by police and questioned in the case of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Nancy first was reported missing on February 1st. She is the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. Now, this also comes as videos were released earlier on Tuesday, and they show a person wearing a ski mask and a backpack. You can see those videos released by the FBI here on your screen. Now, at one point, they do tilt their head down and away from a doorbell camera while approaching Guthrie's front door. The footage also shows the person holding a flashlight in their mouth and trying to cover the camera with a gloved hand, and part of a plant ripped from the yard. The videos, less than a combined minute in length, gave investigators and the public their first glimpse of who was outside Guthrie's home in the foothills outside of Tucson. But the images did not show what happened to her or help determine whether she is still alive. FBI Director Kash Patel said that the armed individual appeared to have tampered with the camera. It was not entirely clear whether there was a gun in the holster. The videos were pulled from data on back-end systems after investigators spent days trying to find lost, corrupted, or inaccessible images. That's according to the FBI director. At Tuesday afternoon, authorities were back near Guthrie's neighborhood using vehicles to block her driveway. And a few miles away, law enforcement was going door to door in the area where her daughter, Annie Guthrie, lives, talking with neighbors as well as walking through a drainage area and examining the inside of a culvert with a flashlight. Investigators have said for more than a week that they believe Nancy Guthrie was taken against her will. She was last seen at home on January 31st and reported missing the next day. DNA tests showed blood on her porch was hers. That's according to authorities. Now, again, anyone with any information on this case is urged to contact FBI. And these were the latest images released as the investigation continues.
Okay,
Our evolution through
everybody.
NetSuite is
So,
I would say
there we have it.
just the ability to be
Sorry about that, everybody. Okay. Lord, my screen won't turn around. Well, having difficulties. Sorry about that. If my camera is stuck. Great. During a live. Okay. How wonderful. I don't know what's going on. I'm frozen. For some reason. Hello, everyone. I do not know what's going on with the app. For some crazy reason, it blanked out. So I'm not going to worry about showing anything because I see it's having a malfunction, the app. And what's even more crazy, I can't even get the app to show up on my TV. And that's been that way for a couple of days. So I don't know why. This big TV, YouTube shows up on it, but it won't show up on my other TV, but all the other apps work. Now it's my phone. I don't know what's going on. Let's give you the latest updates. So this Carlos guy, he was detained. He does not know why he was detained. Nobody had information. The mother-in-law didn't have information. He and the girlfriend and children were door dashing when he was pulled over during a traffic stop. He has spoken to Brian in the news, given his commentary of what happened. And I don't know what's going on. But they busted in their house, garage, all of these things. And I'm trying to figure out what led law officials to him. Is he still on the suspect list, but they've let him go? Is he involved with other people? Now, he was asked, had he been to Nancy's home to deliver packages? Because I think he said he worked for DLS. If you know DLS, I believe their logo is red and yellow. It wouldn't be white, from my understanding. Because if I think back to a DLS truck, they were red and yellow, but maybe on that side of the country, it's a different color. I'm not really sure, or if it's the same same company. But anyway, he's home. Don't know if he still has a job. DoorDash has released a statement that they are cooperating with authorities. So number one, is he involved? Sorry if I'm breaking up. Is he involved? Will he be able to keep his job? Does he know somebody that's involved? Somebody turned him in because of the eyes. They thought it was him. I've got a feeling, as I said, that I believe the male is a Hispanic male or an olive-skinned male. Dark mustache. The person probably forgot to get a mask to cover all of this. Eyebrows dark. You can see that even through the Ring camera. Something I also want to address that I saw on Megyn Kelly's podcast. They did a demonstration of dismantling a Nest camera. She tried it on the air. All she did was crack the screen. But another gentleman was at his home. He put up one by the garage, and he was able to pull it loose with his hands. It just snapped right off. Are we going to find out that this dodo bird carried the camera back, and we're going to hear him wrestling, walking through Nancy's house, also hear the confrontation? Stay woke. Because we didn't hear audio on these videos that have been released to the public. But imagine audio was attached to those Nest cameras and he's carrying them in Nancy's house, because the sheriff told us they don't have them. They are now in the Catalina Foothills near. They are currently searching, and we're going to play the latest information. News Nation is the source, everybody.
Right now, as we give you this live look, we are continuing to follow new developments in the disappearance of the mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie. The FBI just releasing a statement saying they are now conducting an extensive search in the Catalina Foothills. Again, this is a live look at that search right now. It comes after TMZ just this morning reported receiving a third letter, this time demanding 1 Bitcoin in exchange for information about Nancy Guthrie's alleged kidnapper. News Nation's Jessica Cartelli is live in Tucson, tracking it all for us. All right, Jessica. What are they looking for?
So it's unclear what they're looking for. They have not released that information to the media just yet. We think that they're keeping it pretty close to the vest at this point, Nicole. We do know, though, there is something called the Sonora Coalition for Protection of the Desert, and they have cameras near
Yes, it is.
Orville Road, and that's a main thoroughfare between. We're going to reach out to them to see if they are working alongside the FBI. I just went to their social channels. They are not saying anything, as you would imagine that they wouldn't at this point, but they are probably working in tandem if they have those cameras right along those roads in the foothills. Now, just to give a little bit of perspective, Nancy Guthrie's home is in a beautiful neighborhood just around the foothills. There's some shopping centers nearby, a very quiet, ordinarily pretty safe neighborhood. Let's talk about that TMZ email that they received early this morning. That was around 8 o'clock East Coast time. TMZ, this letter coming out a little bit differently than the other two, demanding or asking for 1 Bitcoin. That's about 66,000 American dollars, saying that you provide this money, I will provide information that could lead to a suspect. We're looking into this. We know that TMZ has sent that over to the FBI, but again, another letter that's going to a media outlet as opposed to directly to law enforcement.
Oh my God. Hello, everybody in the chat. Sorry about the malfunction earlier. I will play it. I'll turn it around facing you all to show you the guy who spoke to the news about his debacle with law enforcement last night. This is a reindeer game, plural. First, you wanted money to return Nancy. You've written letters, emails to TMZ and the news. Now, after the FBI has put a couple of dollars into the Bitcoin, you've changed your mind and only want 1 Bitcoin in exchange for who the suspect is. I thought you were the suspect. Don't you all see what's going on here? If you are not following what's going on, this is a game at the expense of Nancy Guthrie and her family and her daughter. Because what I find interesting is now it has switched to 1 Bitcoin, and I'll tell you who the suspect is. But yet, a couple of days ago, you didn't want to respond. And you went from 4 million to 6 million. So now you're telling me this is somebody else who just wants who the suspect is. So we've gone from, I'm going to tell you where Nancy is and I'm going to bring her to you. I want 6 million. Then you don't respond back. Now it's, oh, $66,000. And let me say this to Mr. TMZ, because I'm sick of your. Will you stop bringing us the good news? Because you are playing along with this bullshit. You are the messenger. And you know the old saying about beware of the messenger. You are giving these people a platform to play a dirty game with a woman and her family. You're sitting up here doing news interviews looking like a damn duck out of water. You should stop. Now you don't want to tell us how much money was in the Bitcoin. Well, Harvey, somebody told it last night that it's $300. And it's the FBI's money. It's not allegedly Nancy's money. Savannah's money. Savannah would be crazy to put any money in there due to the fact nobody has brought her information to where her mother can be located. So I wouldn't give them a damn dime. I don't care how much I want to find my mother. I'm not giving up millions of dollars to be empty-handed. And then you have to use discretion with what we just saw in the videos. This person is breaking and entering with a gun near their crotch, looking like a wannabe thug gangbanger, and used force to go in or put a key in the door, whatsoever, put his hands on the lady. Are y'all following that? She wasn't bleeding because she was bored. Oh, she nicked herself. Nah, she had help nicking herself. You don't trust nobody that would break in your house. That's like confronting a burglar. And he says to you, now, be still. I ain't gonna hurt you. I just want to take your TV and your jewelry and everything else you got. I ain't gonna hurt you. Why would you believe anything that this person is saying to you, whether they're in your face or they're sending letters to TMZ, Mickey Mouse? We have no idea who these people are that's been contacting Harvey and the news stations. And Harvey needs to stop repeating shit, because he likes to bring part of the news and then says, oh, I promise I'm not going to tell. I kept my word. I ain't going to repeat everything. Well, then don't say nothing. Just call the sheriff and the FBI and say, hey, somebody sent us another email. That's what you should have done in the first place. But you're too busy trying to get likes and views and clicks, because that keeps money in your pocket and pays your staff. I'm not stupid. And what you don't get, you are playing these games with some low-down motherfuckers. So it don't matter if the ransom people are the people that took Nancy or not. It's still a dirty game. And you, Mr. Harvey, you are playing along with them. Because it becomes, at some point, you should man up and say, I don't want to participate. I don't want to participate in. I'm opening Pandora's box for another repeat of this down the road. So stop jumping in front of your camera like you helping Nancy Guthrie. And then you jump on the camera and then you'll say, well, I can't tell you everything the email said. I can't tell you everything. Well, then quit talking. To me, you know better than the people sending the email, and you ain't no different than the motherfucker that took Nancy out her house. I said that. Julia says, shaking my head with these random notes. This is not a game or a movie. This is real life. Yes, and Harvey doesn't get it. He is falling for this nonsense. Just like the interview he does today, he's sitting there like a little kid. Well, yeah, I kind of understand. And yeah, I know I said he appeared, the notes appeared professional. Like they said, they could be, anybody could have wrote the note. We don't even know how many people are involved. One, in the note sending. Two, who took Nancy? Because most of us didn't even think that they were correlated. Now we're back to square one with a detainee that you've let go. He's done an interview to say, hey, I don't even know what the hell's going on. Yeah, I do DoorDash, I do deliveries. And I thought about this last night. Who's to say that a DoorDash driver couldn't be an Uber driver? Because some people do both. They work for one or two or more companies. We don't really know who this is that went in the house. We don't really know their motive, because now this is all confusing to the who and the why. Some people say, well, it's not about the money. Then what is it about? What are we dealing with? A psychopath that just wants to thrill of breaking and entering? So then you have to ask if this person has done it before. Will they do it again? Well, they're in a hot seat now because they're all over the United States news. They probably won't be breaking in anybody else's house, because now they're afraid that somebody's going to recognize that jacket, the backpack. Now they've probably cut the mustache, dyed the hair, shaved the hair. And like somebody said, why not tell what you know, even if there's no reward involved? FBI has offered up $50,000 for information to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. If you know something, please call them. Do not call TMZ. Don't call us, don't call People, don't call The Sun, don't call The Mirror, call the FBI. And don't you find it strange? This is another note, love letter, that ain't directed to Now this person's only asking for 1 Bitcoin. Oh, I'll tell you who the suspect is. Oh, I thought you were the person that had her. This is bullshit. I'm done with this. I feel so sorry for this family. I feel sorry for Nancy Guthrie. Now they're all over La La Land looking for her. So are you looking for a live person? Or this is a recovery?
Another letter that was going to a media outlet as opposed to directly to law enforcement or the Guthrie family. Now, the man that Pima County Sheriff's deputies had detained last night, we thought this may be a major break in the case, is free now after a raid on his home in Rio Rico. That's about an hour from Tucson, just near the Mexico border. Here's what he had to say about that.
I hope they get the suspect. So I'm not it. They better do their job and find the suspect that did it so they can clear my name. I'm done. Look up, I'm putting my family through.
You're on
Not just Stan.
now.
Not just Stan. You and my parents in Tucson.
That man, identified as 36-year-old Carlos Alfredo Palazuelos, was taken into custody just hours after the FBI released that new video and those still photos of a person seen on camera outside of Nancy Guthrie's front door. In one of the videos released, you see that person wearing a ski mask, a backpack, a heavy jacket, and gloves, walk right to the door, turn around, grab a branch to hide their face, and then walk back toward the door. In the other video, you see him appearing to bust one of the cameras. Now, according to the FBI, it took them quite a bit of time to retrieve that video from the Nest camera because Nancy Guthrie didn't have that camera hooked up to a subscription. You're looking at her home in the upper corner of the show, of your screen rather, and then now you're seeing that video in the big frame where he appears to punch out that camera. So law enforcement
Hey, Texas. Hey, up next.
All of these Nest cameras because there wasn't video that was living on a cloud, so to speak, because there was no subscription attached to that camera. So there are allegedly cameras along that roadway. Search and rescue crews were also seen talking with as investigators searched through the brush in the area. And now, again, the newest information in this case, the FBI is searching in the Catalina Foothills near the Guthrie's home. That's both Nancy and Annie Guthrie.
Exactly
They're
right.
both in the Foothills area. What they are looking for is not being released at this moment, Nicole.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
So they are searching in the Catalina Hills near her home, still in her daughter's neighborhood, looking around. Did anyone hear the face mask was found? No, Texas lady, I have not. I haven't heard anything. I was trying to bring you all the video of the young man since it messed up earlier in the live. The screen stopped and wouldn't jump back. I don't know what's going on with YouTube lately, but I'm having more problems with the app. I have another update pertaining to Hollywood news. James Vanderbeek, who starred in Dawson's Creek and Varsity Blues, he has passed away. If you watched the show back in the day, the 90s, he has passed away at the age of 48. Okay, let me find this video. I just had it up here. I don't know how to go back in my history up here because this iPad works different than my phone. Let me see. Scripps News is the source. I heard that if so, that's huge. Get some DNA. Yes, very true.
Custody and conducted a search at a house in southern Arizona. Senior National Investigative Correspondent Lori Jangliha has been in Pima County all week and live now. Masked suspect that's Ford Hatchett from our scripts.
I'm trying to find the guy.
I felt like I was being pitted.
Why every time I touch the screen, it jumps off? Oh,
I felt like
Lord.
I was being pitted, bro. Because they didn't tell me anything else.
And investigators showed up to this house, or were you the one who was pulled over at the traffic stop?
I was the one that was pulled over at the traffic stop.
Where was that?
Right here on by Chubasco.
Okay, and you were taken into custody at that point?
Yeah.
And you were
I was being detained.
detained. Okay.
I was detained the whole time.
Okay.
That's what they told me.
Where were they?
In the back of a car. Back of a Miranda car, and then they moved me into a Pima County Sheriff.
Were you being questioned in the car?
At the Miranda car, I was being questioned, but they only asked me for my first name, my last name, my date of birth, and my social.
Okay. What were they asking you about?
My whereabouts.
Okay.
Where was I, and all that. But
Are you ever up in Tucson?
yeah, I work in Tucson.
What do you do?
GLS, deliver packages.
Okay. Do you think you might deliver a package to Nancy Guthrie's house?
I don't know. Might have been a possibility. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you ever deliver like Amazon packages or anything?
But that's this kind of thing.
Yeah. So do you think you?
And so earlier in the evening, the FBI was also very active, law enforcement.
Sorry about that. He said GLS, because I was thinking of DLS. DLS here it's a red and yellow van. I wanted to show that because that's what I was trying to show you at the beginning of the live when the screen froze. So give me your opinion. We're going to go in stages. We're going to start with Carlos. Do you believe Carlos is involved, or somebody just looked at the photo, thought it was him, but it's not? Did FBI take his DNA? Because we heard that there's DNA in Nancy's house. Don't know what that DNA is. I'm scared to ask. Did they take his DNA? His parents' phone? The parents do not have a cell phone. Maybe today they do, but they didn't have one as of last night. So they're checking to make sure ain't nobody sending no messages, asking for ransoms, whatever, which is a good thing. But why did they let him go? Did they let him go, but they still think he's involved? Weigh in. Texas says no. Ann says no. Hello, Anne-Marie. So he did say the person, I was listening to a certain person on this YouTube that is a detective. When this person said they thought it was a white man, I thought, I'm not trying to be rude, but you're a detective and you're looking at this video and you thought this was a white person? And it's not to say a white person don't or can't have dark hair, because there are many white people who have dark hair, meaning they would have dark eyebrows. He would have a dark mustache. But the first thing I thought, this ain't no white person, because that part of the region is filled with Latino people. Stay woke now. But is the mustache real or scribbled on? Fake mustache. I wouldn't have a fake mustache on due to the fact I know I would be sweating with a knitted hat on. The one Bitcoin, the same person that was asking for the $6 million. Is this just another reindeer disease? Somebody's going to go into TMZ's email system and track you. And the fact that TMZ had the nerve to say, well, our IT tech guys couldn't track the emails. No shit, Sherlock. No disrespect to the people working for TMZ in the IT department. This is why we have the FBI. Whoever keeps sending these stupid ass letters, please stop. You don't know where Nancy is. You don't have Nancy. You're trying to milk here since you like playing with the internet. You can work from home or you can go work for a company. Because the longer you keep sending these stupid letters to TMZ, you're going to need an attorney. I am. And you're sick to be doing this. Because if it was your mother, you would want people to be helping find your mother. So pretend you have some feelings. Pretend you have some empathy. and stop this bullshit. And TMZ, don't tell us about another damn letter. Call the sheriff and call the FBI. If you get another ransom letter, demand, whatever, I'm tired of hearing you talk. I'm sick of your videos and your uploads because I'm starting to look at you no different than the people requesting funds, demanding funds. You are no different. And as I told you all yesterday, the reason why Savannah uploaded that last video is because obviously she's been talking to the FBI and they probably was telling her, we have an idea of a suspects. That's why her demeanor was different. She had a little lipstick on, a little jewelry on. She probably was feeling a little bit better, a little bit hopeful. That's why she put out the message. If you could help me find my mother, help me, please. I think mommy's still out there. Now, next question. Do you believe Nancy Guthrie is alive? Weigh in. With all that's happened since day one, up until this guy being detained, let go, searches in Annie's neighborhood, searches in Nancy's neighborhood, now they're in the Catalina Foothills. Is she alive? Weigh in. I have had all I can take. And I was kind of stuff, and as I said, I won't doubt he carried the cameras in with him. They may still have been recording him going into the door camera off. So I'm going to say this as well while I am live to anybody who has a security system or you want to get you one. Put that bad boy all the way up in the corner of your outdoor house. Do not use the doorbell camera. Put that bad boy way up in the corner where can't nobody get to it unless they go find a fucking ladder. Because if you get a good security system, it can see coming all the way from the street. Just like the ones in the department stores, such as Walmart, Costco, Macy's. It's got the top of your head, your hand, just like the one at Walmart when you do the checkout. You're looking at yourself. Scan the items. So that's what the type of camera you need to get. One that sits up way high, up in the corner of the outside. You can see them when they're coming. You can see the top of their head. So they can fumble around with the door, do whatever they want to do. See them coming. They can't pull nothing off. Because now information has come out where you can tell the crooks, you can pop the camera off. Because Megan Kelly did it on her live. She had a guy show us how to do it. And she beat it on her desk and ruined the screen. The point is, subscription and it's still recording, the crook can be walking around with the camera talking and you're getting more information. So maybe he's talking to himself, maybe he's got his phone out, he's talking to Pookie, Ray, Bubba, whomever. This is scary. Because any of you who have Nest cameras, they showed you on her show how to dismantle it with your hands, no tools. Now, one person said on a podcast yesterday, they thought maybe he was using the brush to use a stick to stick in the hole, because Megan even showed a little key that you can use to pop it or open it or something, the camera. Anyway, he doesn't look prepared. Now, people got difference of opinions if he's professional, non-professional. Some people don't think he's professional because he went and dug up the dirt. And I was always suspicious about those little leaves down there in front of Nancy's door. I kept trying to figure out where they were coming from. Now we know. All you had to do was bring duct tape, Dodo Bird. So I want to know how you knew about Nancy's house. Yes, I'm talking to you, Mr. Ski Mask person. Did you deliver food Were you an Uber driver? Did you deliver any type of packages? Or you just picked a house on that street because it's dark? And due to the fact that these stupid people in the local government are worrying about the sky and the stars is the very reason Nancy is gone. Blaming Savannah is probably not a good idea because we don't really know what was going on between she and her mother and how the mother wanted to run her house. For all we know, Nancy didn't want to pay for the subscription. Because you got to remember, it is her house. And then somebody fully explained to her that she needed to pay a subscription. So all that matters. But I saw a very nasty comment where somebody said, you being on a Today Show is the reason why your mother is missing. We don't know that. Because at this point in the juncture of the road, I can't tell where this story is going. Some people thought the daughter and the son-in-law were involved. Some of his friends, bandmates. Some people thought outsider, somebody that knew her, somebody from church, neighbor, delivery driver. But what you have to tell yourself is what you saw on that camera is a person who does not have any empathy. A person who doesn't give a fuck. A person who is willing to go to a stranger's house with a gun, tamper with their cameras, and go in their home. That's what you saw on the camera. Live, like Memorex. A person who didn't mind using a gun. And that's what you need to remember about this story. Is that if it was not Nancy, it was going to be somebody. So whatever the motive is, we got to wait till we find the person to put it together. Because I can tell you, I have no idea where this nonsense is going. I don't know if he was hired. I don't know if he's a sexual sadist. I don't know if he's just desperate for money, if he's high on dope, fentanyl, meth. He's into robbing people. He's done this before, left some people behind. This time he decided to take a life. I don't know where this is going. I have no earthly idea. Some of you were suspecting it was a woman. Some people think the person had on lots of clothes. I don't know. But the one thing I do know, they had dark eyebrows and a mustache. And I do not think this mustache was painted on or a faux mustache. I think they forgot to have something covering everything, because this is what happens when you're a smart ass. You think you have dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's, and you have not. So some of you don't believe this young man is involved. Okay. I'm looking for the latest developments. Somebody in the chat mentioned something about a mask. Once again, has the family called her doctor to ask about her pacemaker? I haven't heard anything about that. To show that she's alive, it's moving about, what? No press conferences, no updates. I'm just going in the queue, everybody. Sure, there's a lot of people being found deceased. They had an incident not too long ago in Tucson of a woman found deceased in a house, her and her friend. And I think the husband or ex-husband domesticated. Once again, James Vanderbeek, known for his roles in Varsity Blues and Dawson's Creek, has passed away at the age of 48. So So far, I'm not seeing anything new. It's a lot of tributes to him. Okay, 5 minutes ago, former au pair Juliana Margulies pled guilty to manslaughter in exchange for testifying against her lover, Brendan Banfield, who was found guilty of double murder. She faces sentencing on Friday for her involvement in a scheme that left Christine Banfield and Joseph Ryan dead. Very interesting. How much time is she going to get? Everything's in here about this young man being deceased. I mean, everything. I looked at his Facebook. He seems like a family. Texas, okay. You didn't see anything nefarious in there in his commentary. And the mother-in-law, I don't know, a lot of people were saying, oh, she probably knows something. She ain't gonna admit that he's involved. Or naturally, even if she looked at the photo, because Brian Eaton was on her, he was like, this don't look like him, this don't look like him. And she's like, no, it don't look like him. You know, it's like, we want somebody bad, but we don't want somebody innocent. And that's what you gotta tell yourself when you're watching these stories unfold. You do not want an innocent person apprehended, arrested, because we have a lot of people who have been arrested, have been charged, have been sentenced, found guilty, and they were not the perpetrator. And due to the fact that we have modern technology with DNA, many people have been in prison for many years, and they are, probably felt defeated, thinking they would never get out of prison. And finally, a group comes along to fight for their rights, do the DNA testing, they're not the perpetrator. So we do not want an innocent man, woman, to go to jail for this crime without some information. Good old Brian Eaton, he has been on the ground. Everybody's just going on and on about how unsophisticated he is. Well, he gets to see himself in real time. I can't get over this one Bitcoin. Unbelievable. Now we've got Pentagon laser takes down cartel drone, I think. Oh, Lord. A lot's going on in the world. Once again, Ghislaine Maxwell will be pleading the fifth, invoking her Fifth Amendment right. She is not going to testify in the Epstein investigation, which tells me she's guilty and she's being loyal to a dead man. Another double murder. Also, Wendy Williams' father has passed away at the age of 94. Thomas Williams. I'm just going through trying to pick up any latest information. Everything's from hours ago. Oh, Lord have mercy. She said it looks like a family man. Well, looks can be deceiving. Because I was trying to read him when he was talking, trying to figure out if he's involved or not involved. I don't know. Okay, we're going to go to ABC Live and see what they have to say. I went outside yesterday and did a brief short. Oh my God, it was feeling so good. The weather was so nice in Tennessee yesterday. I was sitting out in front of the building, almost fell asleep. Sitting on the bench, I was like, oh, this weather is beautiful. It's a little cooler today. I'm not going out there because I'm not trying to get sick. That's how I got sick weeks ago, sitting outside.
Launching a new search operation in the quest to find Nancy Guthrie. The FBI says numerous agents now carrying out an extensive search along multiple roadways in the Catalina Foothills area just outside of Tucson, Arizona, where Guthrie lives. It comes as authorities say they detained and released an individual overnight in connection to the disappearance of the civilian KNXV. That being detained was terrifying.
They saw they were following me. I pulled over. They didn't even have to put a traffic stop or anything. I got off the car. They arrested me as soon as I got off the car. They didn't even tell me what was going on until the detectives got here, like 2 hours before I got arrested. And then the detectives got here. It was the FBI agent in Santa Cruz County. And they told me I was being detained for kidnapping. And I asked them, like, well, kidnapping of who? And
Who they're calling an armed individual seen here disturbing the nest cam that police recovered from Nancy Guthrie's front door. Let's bring in our Alex Stone. He's tracking the latest out of LA. So Alex,
does he know something? Don't know something.
This new round of searches.
Well, we know from the FBI, Kara, that they say that they are going to be all day today searching along the Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood with FBI agents. They are looking for any kind of evidence that they can find of what happened to her, that they want to check, and they want to check again. No indication that there is anything in those areas, but was something tossed out of a car? Is there any bit of evidence of what happened to her? They've been looking in storm drains. They've been looking in septic systems. Anything that they can for her, but also for any indication of what happened to her. Also, we now know that man named Carlos, who you were talking about, that he was apparently on the radar of the FBI and of police, according to our sources, before the video came out yesterday. We understand he has not been ruled out as a suspect, but he may have had nothing to...
Bingo card. That's what I wanted to hear. He was on the radar before the video came out. Okay, I just got an update. Hold on. Wait a minute, everybody. Damn it. It says Bitcoin transferred into account associated with Nancy. I guess that's the same information. I don't know if that's new information from yesterday. I'm trying to figure out now, why was he on their radar? Because they're saying he was on the radar before the video got released for a stranger to see it and say, oh, I think that's my homeboy. So, Carlos, let Queen talk to you for just a second. Do you know something about Nancy? Did you go to her house? Is that you dressed up in that garb? Another thing I have not heard. The family has not told us what is missing from Nancy's house. Rings, jewelry, heirlooms, papers, documents, nothing. Stay woke, everybody. Are you all going to tell us what's missing from her house? That might be helpful. Diamond rings, rings from her husband. Come on. Something. So now we hear he was on the radar before the video came out. So are they watching him? Which I would say yes, they are. Because something led them to Carlos. Carlos, they were following you for a reason, homeboy. So have you been driving around on your off time, which is the weekend, looking and scoping out houses? Since you only work through the week, let your mom-in-law tell it. He works through the week, but on the weekends he don't work, and he was here. Oh no, he was here with us. I don't know where he was. Yeah, well, I'm gonna help you free Palestine. Hold on one second. There you go.
to do with this. He is a delivery driver. We know there were cell phone pings, our sources are saying, linked back to him in the area, his car known to be in the area. But again, as a delivery driver, that would all be somewhat normal.
So what are investigators saying about this person who was detained and released, and whether they believe this individual could be the person who appears in that Nest Cam video?
Well, they still don't know, and our sources are saying that they are looking into him, that they are looking at his background. They executed the search warrant last night, but it's looking less likely that he was connected to this. Again, going back to our sources telling us cell phone pings, a vehicle in the area that they thought maybe around that time, that even before the video coming out, that they thought might have linked them to this, but they've got to go and check on those leads. They got to go and talk to them, and in this case, they had enough problems.
Well, see, this is where I have a problem with this. The mother-in-law said he works through the week. So why would his car or van be over there unless he was doing deliveries? This ain't making no sense. So he was doing DoorDash on the weekends? Because you got to remember, when you tell a story, you got to stick with it. He's doing DoorDash, and he's also doing packages. So if you all are telling us you saw his car around the area, which led you to follow him and bring him in, then what was he in when you saw him? He was in the work van, or he was in his car. And I hope he wasn't stupid enough, if he's involved, he took his children with him in the car, meaning the girlfriend would have been with him too, and mama is lying. Mama-in-law is lying. So this is what I'm trying to figure out. Which job was he working to be seen in the area? You all didn't say. You didn't say if it was the DoorDash job or it's the delivering packages job. Stay woke, everybody. Queen is on it. Because I think back to a story I saw on YouTube recently where this couple was scamming some older people, and they end up getting caught in a parking lot, and they were getting drops, going from different places, picking up money. And they were DoorDash drivers, or some type of dinner service drivers. It was a couple. It was a black couple, if I'm not mistaken. And it was some type of scam they were running. And they would tell the people to meet them somewhere to drop off the money. And when the police pulled them over, baby, they had a sack full of fucking money. Do you hear me? These dodo birds were so stupid. Interesting. Well, Carlos, they're watching you. So if you are involved, you make and remove your family makes. And I think you know that.
Probable cause of being in the area, knowing he was in the area, to get a search warrant to go into the home that his mother-in-law's home that he's been living in, and that was enough. He has been released. They are no longer searching the home. He has not been completely ruled out, but we understand that it's looking less likely that he was involved.
Our Alex Stone out of LA for us. Alex, thank you. So for more, let's bring in our contributor and retired FBI agent Rich Frankel, also our ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer. So Rich, what could authorities be looking for in this new round of searches, you think?
Kind of what Alex just said, any debris that was thrown out on the side of the road, anything that was dropped on the side of the road, it could be really, a piece of paper, something with a fingerprint on it. I've been in these cases where, you'll go back and we found cell phones 2-3 days later. So, it's not unheard of that this late in the search that they would be doing this again and again, because you basically want to make sure that you have not missed any detail. And now that you have the evidence response team out there, these guys are expert.
Zone has some new details. Alex, what do you have for us?
Well, a lot of this, Kara, is what we're finding out right now. The one we know that, and as Rich just talked about, they're going through every frame of the video today, trying to figure out if there's any other clue in the video of, does he have a tattoo on him? There's been some speculation that maybe when he moves his clothing that you see something under this. Does he have a mustache? He isn't male, I'm saying him, but it looks like that he's got some facial hair in the upper lip and lower lip. But all of this coming as our sources are now telling us that the man seen in the video, that when they started to focus on this guy Carlos in the Tucson area, because of his location data, of the cell phone pings, of his vehicle being in the area. But again, he claims that he's just a delivery driver and that he was in the area because that's what he does. So if it will pan out, we don't know. But at this point, he has not been completely ruled out, but it's looking less likely that he was involved.
Well, I want to hear, like I said, he was delivering the packages or he was doing the DoorDash. What was the time he was in the area? Hours before she went home? When she allegedly got home? See, all that matters. How long was he in the area? 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? And like I said, which job was he on? Delivering the packages or delivering the food? See, I already knew they were gonna do the geofencing. That's how they found this little fella here. Now, when he was doing his deliveries, whichsoever, did he have somebody with him? Kids, girlfriend, a wife, whomever. Let me tell you something I heard. You know, I don't like passing gossip when I'm doing these stories in the beginning, but I'm getting a little exhausted because this story is driving me crazy and it's scary as hell. Read the comments. And honey, I pray that what I'm getting ready to repeat is not the truth, but somebody repeated this about Carlos. They said, Carlos has been incarcerated before. He's just gotten out or so, or did 11 years for child, you know what. So, if that allegation is true, and they have not mentioned that he has a past criminal record, if he does have one. Look at Texas lady, wow. You know, Queen is always, that mind's always in rotation. I was sitting here thinking to myself, what if everybody's got this all wrong? About ransoms, the family being involved, somebody paying somebody to do something. Or could we be talking about a sexual sadist? The only thing that I have a problem with the sexual sadist is taking the victim out of the house and you fancied her or whatever and you said, okay, that's gonna be my next target. Why would you take her out? You would only take her out. I'd be damned. Shut up, Queen. Whoa, it just hit me. You would take her out because of the DNA left behind. And you're in the database. Shut your mouth. Hot damn. Are we talking about a sadist who knew that this was an elderly woman, alone? They have seen her coming and or going, picked her up on a ride or took her food. Maybe she was too full, because I had to say that to myself too when I re-looked at the video. Why is the bag so full? Were they robbing houses before they got to her house? Maybe they needed a crowbar to get in. Some people thought, well, maybe there's a tarp in there. I don't know. But this would make sense as well. If this is not a hired hit, this is not somebody in cahoots with somebody, ransom, whatever, has nothing to do with Savannah. This person is a sadist, and he has DNA in the database as a sexual offender. So he would be no DNA. Checkmate. Well now. Are we talking about a sexual offender? If this Carlos guy has a criminal record messing with kids, it has been known that offenders can be dual offenders. They can mess with boys, they can mess with girls, they also can mess with grown-ups. And if you've got the urge, not to be disrespectful, derogatory, you're not going to care. You want to satisfy the urge. You're cutting out on me. So you said Carlos is a SA. That's what I read under somebody's video last night, Texas. I do not know if the allegation is true, but you know how people are. Once they get your name, they run your name. They go in those little websites and put your name in there. And they said he had been locked up for 11 years for child molestation. So that made me start thinking here. He's been in an area, that's how they found him. Maybe he was looking for a victim or circling like a vulture, because that would make sense. You have somebody who has a criminal record pertaining to SA. They're out delivering packages, food. They're coming in contact with many people, have young men who are sexually attracted to older women. You've seen it time and time again of older women who have been violated in nursing homes, assisted living, homes for the mentally disabled. Could the perpetrator be a sadist? Checkmate. That is the reason why they took the victim out, because they left behind semen in or on Nancy Guthrie. Because what I find interesting is that the sheriff won't tell us what the DNA is in the house. Her blood, vomit, she used the bathroom on herself. What are we talking about here? Or all of the above. Because you should, when you go into shock, that is the first thing that some people do, is they use the restroom on themselves. And we have seen this in hostage situations. People have used the bathroom on themselves. So this is why I think it's interesting the sheriff doesn't tell us what the DNA is in the house. It could be a combination of one of these things. And then this is why they keep saying, you know, don't point the finger here, don't point the finger there, because it could be anything, and it could be the one thing you wouldn't suspect. And I wouldn't suspect that. I wasn't trying to point the finger at her children, but I throw that out there because most crimes are committed by family. And you can't put the Guthries on a pedestal when, one, you don't know them and you don't know their family dynamic. Just because she's famous, you can't be naive to think, one, she doesn't have enemies, that she gets along with her relatives. Lots of people don't get along with their family, and they're wealthy, they're well off. And as I said before, we don't know these people to say this, this, and this. Now, everyone's been pointing the finger, some of you, at the daughter, at the son-in-law. I only felt like it's somebody that knows her because she was removed. She was removed. And usually somebody known to the victim will remove them as not to be connected to the body, depending on what they did to the victim, which is usually homicide, sexual assault. Oh, Auntie Pony, how are you, sweetheart? So if anyone is out here and you want to check his background, feel free and come back and put under this video that he does have a criminal record for SA. That might take us into a whole nother ball game, that this crime has nothing to do with Savannah Guthrie. It has nothing to do with money or ransom. And that's the one thing I don't think many people are focusing on. Everyone's focused on family, Uber driver, this person, delivery, pool guy. Also, yes, everybody that's worked for her, they have submitted DNA. Now, somebody put a rumor in one of these chats about Tommaso lowering up, he and the wife lowering up. I haven't heard anything about nobody lowering up. Why would you get a lawyer? For what? You haven't been arrested, so that doesn't make any sense. See, people will pass lies, and this is why I hate doing these videos about true crime, because you hear so much nonsense and he said, she said, and then you got to remember, when you pass it, you are also a party to the bullshit. So I like to be careful about passing anything, but I did want to mention that just in case somebody mentioned it. Then I got to double back and say, oh, well, yeah, I heard it, but I didn't tell you. I just don't want to be passing gossip. But somebody mentioned that in another chat, that he has a criminal record for child molestation. I do not know if that's true, so I'm putting a disclaimer in this live that that is an allegation made by a commenter. But if you want to go dig it up, feel free to go look and see. Now, here is another video with this Carlos fellow. And we're gonna see, this was uploaded an hour ago by Forbes Breaking News.
Como por el carro de Marrana me andaba siguiendo ya desde temprano. Y estaba un troque blanco estacionado allá arriba y luego andaba un atajo gris pasando por ahí.
Did you notice that they were following you since earlier in the day?
No, la cop car de Marrana fue el que miré.
You sense that someone was following you? Yes.
Sí, por eso me orillé. That's how I pulled over.
How long was the interrogation? How long were you there with them?
From 4 to 12.
And then inside the house, you said they threw it on the ground?
Not me. No, not me.
¿Piensas tomar acciones legales contra ellos?
Como fue de Dios, porque la neta te trae.
So you're saying that you're gonna proceed with the lawsuit or something?
If I can.
Any other items from inside?
No, just your phone. Yeah, just my phone. They gave everything back. They just took my phone. Que lo resuelvan y que ya me aclaren mi nombre, la verdad, porque yo siento que todavía no me aclaran.
So can you say that in English? What do you want from us?
Everything. That's all I want.
When it comes to your mother-in-law, how is she doing? Is that her that was also her property search?
Yeah, this is her property. I live here. That's why I'm coming out right now. So you guys can leave it alone. You know what I mean?
¿Tú crees que alguien les dijo que eras tú el sospechoso?
Es lo que me dijeron, que tuvieron un tipo anónimo.
Carlos,
Or someone called and tipped them about you.
¿Cómo te sientes? Carlos, fue confundido.
¿Cómo me voy a sentir? ¿Cómo se sintiera usted? ¿Cómo se sintiera usted? How would you guys feel?
Hoy vas a ir a trabajar.
No puedo. ¿Cómo voy a ir a trabajar? Me quitaron el teléfono.
They didn't read your rights for 2 hours? Did they hurt you when they handcuffed you?
Well, right now it's not that bad, but yeah, yesterday, look, they did that right there. And then this was swollen, but that's it, not much.
And did they tell you why they pulled you over? Did they tell you?
Not at the beginning until the FBI got there, like 2 hours. They told me, like, you're being detained, and all of a sudden the FBI pulled out the Miranda rights, and you read me Miranda rights, and that's when I asked about being arrested. And I know I would just read your to ask you some questions. What kind of questions? It's about a kidnapping. What the fuck? I didn't kidnap no one. Yeah. So I started asking my name and all that, but all of a sudden I felt like they were trying to incriminate me in something I didn't do, so I just beat the tape.
Yeah. Did they say they're coming back or anything?
No.
¿Te gustaría que te dieran una disculpa?
La verdad, ni lo.
What I'm wondering is they had to have had, I know you, before this entire situation happened, you didn't know there was a kidnapping. You had no idea.
I didn't know anything.
There's an 84-year-old woman missing up in the Tucson area. There had to maybe been something they told you as to how they got to you. How did they get the real Rico?
An anonymous tip. That's what they said.
Oh, they thought you looked like that in the
That's what they told my mother-in-law.
Okay.
They showed you. Yeah, because they said that my eyes and my eyelashes look the same.
And just to be clear, they did not break the back windows of your truck.
No, they didn't.
But they did search it.
Yeah, they searched my truck and this one.
And and what were you doing? Do you just solely work for that one company?
Yes, sir.
¿Tú has visto el video del sospechoso? ¿Tú crees que se parece a él?
No, nada. Se parece a usted.
Tú dices que estabas haciendo DoorDash con tu familia y a tu familia, ¿qué les hicieron? ¿Qué les
Nos
hicieron?
dejaron en el carro como por 4 o 5 horas.
¿Te llevaron?
No, a mí me tuvieron ahí, nunca me llevaron a ninguna parte. Ahí me tenían nomás moviéndome de carro a carro.
¿Con tu familia adentro?
No, mi familia estaba en ese carro, yo estaba en el carro de Moran. Y luego ya llegó el Pima County Sheriff, ya me movieron al Pima County Sheriff.
So you were never taken into, you were just, all the interrogation was inside a car? Can you say that, like they never took me
They
inside?
never took me anywhere, they just kept me inside the police car, that's it.
And you said from the hours of 4 to 12?
No, yeah, 4 to 12.
Did they apologize? Did they apologize?
No.
Did they say you're clear? Or?
Yeah, they just said I'm cleared, but they never
¿Algún mensaje
apologized.
que tengas para la familia Guthrie?
Ojalá que le encuentren, que esté bien y que agarren a sospechosos para que me aclaren a mí. Any glass before? I hope they find the lady and they catch the guy that did it.
And when it comes to your future, obviously now that it's been everywhere
I know.
already, people are following this nationally. How are you feeling about just going back in public after
I
this?
don't mind it, I didn't do anything.
¿Les puedes mostrar una vez más dónde te lastimaron? ¿A qué hora? ¿A dónde fue? Se excusaron ellos.
Sí, me esposaron, pero esta la tenían apretada y ahorita me duele aquí, tengo pinchado.
Sí, se ve, te
Y esto. Y ya, pues.
Entonces se llevan tu teléfono y sabes si se van a contactar contigo en algún momento.
Me dejaron un papel nomás, pero no sé si me lo vayan a
¿Nos podrías
revisar.
mostrar ese papel?
No.
Bueno.
Tiene que enseñar la mano otra vez.
Gracias, mi amable.
Muchas gracias, Carlos.
Gracias, Carlos.
Carlos,
Well, all they did was that scratch right there and this one part right here, and that's it.
you had handcuffs on for how long?
From 4 to 12.
And what were you doing? You were driving your daughter's car or your car?
No, my wife was driving her car. This one, I was just accompanying her to dashing. And all of a sudden, I saw Miranda following us. All right, I was trying to what's Miranda doing down here.
Yeah.
So I pulled over. Instead of them pulling me over, I pulled over, got off the car, and
They had guns drawn? And did they tell you why they pulled you over?
no, they didn't pull me over.
Did they tell you why the guns were drawn? And you're thinking, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah, I thought to myself, what's going on? A lot of thoughts came to my head, and I waited for like 2 hours for somebody, or 2 to 3 hours for somebody to tell me what's going on.
Did they put you in the car right away?
Yeah,
There?
right away.
Did they bring you back here?
No, they kept me in the car.
So then they later searched your house while you were not there. You were not there.
No warrants, no anything. They just came in and boom.
Were you able to tell your family what was about to happen? Warn them or anything?
So you couldn't warn your family at all.
How can I warn them if I don't
They were
even
just
know what's going on?
They took your phone and they still have your phone?
Yeah.
And they haven't told you how you're going to get it back?
Do you feel you're owed an apology?
Yeah. Something I didn't do yet, especially the way they acted. I mean, I know it's your job to do what you're doing, but to an innocent man, and they didn't even, I think they don't even have evidence against me, so I don't even know how they got to me.
And had you heard of Nancy Guthrie?
No, I have not. No, I have
So
not.
you didn't know what you were talking about.
Until last night when they explained everything to me. But from there on, I didn't know anything. I don't even watch the news, to be honest.
So how do you move on from here?
Like you all guys do. Same, I'm just a human being.
I appreciate it. How many kids you have?
3.
How old are they?
The oldest 15, the youngest is 8, and my daughter is at 12.
Con los que estaban en el carro,
Eran los más grandes.
eran los más grandes.
And you live here with your
in-laws.
your kids and your in-laws, and they're all just shaking right now?
Oh, yeah. Were you here?
Yes, I mean, did they ransack the home at all?
They did.
They went through all the home?
They did.
Do you have any video that you can show us about?
I do not. Well, I wasn't here.
No, but if like.
Oh, no, they don't have cameras.
No.
Thank you.
¿Qué es lo que tú pides? ¿Qué es lo que pides en este momento?
¿Aquí estás segura?
Sí, el corazón la tenía.
Bueno, hello? Yeah, hello? Thank you, appreciate it. I would appreciate that. First of all, I need to get my phone back. No, I do not. No, ahí te traigo ese teléfono.
Just any chance you have the first page of that search warrant they handed you?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, but I don't want to bring it
You
out.
don't want to bring it out? Okay.
Carlos, una cosa nada más, ¿tú qué es lo que estás pidiendo en este momento?
Que aclaren todo esto y que hayan a la persona que lo hizo y que hayan a la persona que andan buscando. La verdad es lo único que yo pido. Porque me dejen en paz. Gracias, Lidia. ¿Puedes cerrar la puerta?
Okay. Weigh in, everybody. What did you find, Texas? Same name and birthday. Hold on. One second. Hold on, baby. Hello, 5986. How are you? Thank you all so much for joining me. Okay, Carlos Palazuelos, Palazuelos. I don't know 5986. All right. God, everything keeps jumping up on the screen. Carlos Palazuelos, who said he's innocent according to multiple reports, okay? I'm just skipping over stuff. Palazuelos identified himself while speaking to reporters outside his home in Rio Rico, which is 1 hour to the Mexican border to Mexico. He is a local delivery driver who works in Tucson. He said he had been questioned and then released by the police. So you heard him tell you all that about being in a car 2 hours before the FBI got there. They read him his Miranda rights. He was finally let go. They've kept his phone. They still have his phone. He said that it might have been a possibility that he delivered a package to Guthrie's house and suggested that police stopped him because his eyes looked similar to those of the person seen in the door cam footage. Somebody called in a tip once the video was released. But as I told you just a few minutes ago, they were eyeing him before the video was released, okay? In another interview, he told CBS News that he was innocent. Where I have a problem, well, he did tell the Telemundo News, the experience was terrifying. I felt like I was being kidnapped, bro, he said in comments reported by NBC News. They didn't tell me anything. Held me against my will, didn't even read me my rights. 2 hours in, he said he didn't know who Guthrie was. And also his mother-in-law said the same thing in her interview last night. I hope they find the suspect because I'm not it. They better do their job and find the suspect that did it so they can clear my name, he said. His detainment came after the FBI on Tuesday released a video and still images recovered from a camera outside Guthrie's front door in the early morning hours on the day of her disappearance that showed a potential subject. So they showed us the video. The next thing you know, somebody saw the video, called in a tip. This is where I have a problem with Carlos. When you are listening to people speak, such as the Guthries, such as anyone who's involved, uninvolved, or brought into the story, you're always watching facial expression, mouth movement, eye movement, fidgeting, swaying, and this here. He said one thing that is usually said by suspects when they are interrogated by law officials. You don't have no evidence. That's what he said in that video I just showed you. He says, I don't think they have no evidence against me, or I'm ad-libbing. That don't sound right. I don't think they don't have no evidence. They don't have no evidence. That don't sound right. Why would you even say that? You're supposed to say, I'm innocent. Yes, I've worked in that general area. I may have delivered a package to this lady, but I don't know her personally. I can't even tell you which house she lives in or the street. Maybe if you took me over there, I could tell you if I've been over there or not. He says, I don't think they don't have any evidence. That's not good. I found his effect a little too animated, cocky, okay? Texas says, now they are saying they found a black glove. Well, see, that's all I've been waiting on is what they found at his house, what they found in the garage, because you have to remember, this is not his house. So people who are cocky, arrogant, don't know what they're doing, they usually fumble the ball in committing crimes, such as the black gloves. He either borrowed them from somebody, not necessarily St. Carlos, but the person who did this. They borrowed them from somebody, or they went and bought a box of those nitrate type gloves. They're the similar gloves that Brian Korberger used. They come in a box. One person said on the commentary last night that the gloves don't last for 3 months, which is weird because you would think the gloves would last even if you're not using them. So I found that comment kind of interesting. But I didn't like the fact that he said they don't have evidence. That implies that, to me, you're involved and ain't got nothing. Now, I could be misreading him because of his dialect. I also found it interesting they don't have security cameras on their house. You're near the Mexican border and you don't have cameras on your house? You're in the thick of trafficking and people coming across. Very scary. They don't got no evidence. They don't have any evidence. I don't think. He said, I don't think they have evidence. That's what he said. I don't think they have evidence. So maybe he's just saying, well, they just pulled me out the thick and don't even got nothing on me. Well, he could be right. They use geofencing. Your vehicle's pinged in the general location, so they hunted you down. Besides the person pointing you out in the video. So you have to admit there's something to it to some degree, because they said in this commentary I played, we were watching him before the person ID'd him. Coincidence? Call it what you want. As one person said the other day, sometimes coincidences don't mean anything. Yeah, but when it's about 5 or 6 or 7 of them, hell yeah, they matter. You can't tell me that don't matter. They were eyeing him before the video was released. Then the video gets released. Ring, ring, ring. 911, what is your emergency, please? Y'all see where I'm going? I think I know who that guy is in that video. His name is Carlos. Shut your mouth. Then you gotta forget, you gotta remember he had on a certain type of jacket with the star and the stripe around it How you know they ain't seen Carlos in that jacket? Come on with it, preach. I'm touching on everything. And in some degree, when he was interviewed in the other interview, something about the way he talked didn't sound right to me. I'm just throwing it out. He was kind of like, what's the word I want to use? Deflecting. Like, you know how young people talk when you're trying to address them about something, and they mumble and turn their head and look up and look down. That's how he was talking in one of the interviews, and I found it bizarre. And I get it, some people don't give eye contact, and sometimes I don't give eye contact when I talk to people. They may think I'm not telling the truth, but it was just something about him in that first interview that night. Just, I don't know, struck me strange. But I didn't like that comment. I don't think they have any evidence. And I have seen men say that in interrogations, and they were the suspect. You ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? They come out and say, you ain't got nothing. That's not something you would say to somebody interrogating you about a crime. You ain't got nothing. You implying that you was there then. They ain't got nothing. Because that's not a normal response to where were you on the night of such and such. You're supposed to say, oh, I was at home or I was at a ball game. You don't say, you ain't got nothing. Well, they must have something because why are you in this room? See, why are you here? And now, Carlos could be innocent. I'm just dissecting everything said pertaining to this investigation. I don't think they had a warrant for Carlos' home. Well, they probably went and got a warrant. They went and got a warrant. You know they went and got a warrant. They can't go in your house without a warrant. His facial expressions was not congruent with the situation. I didn't pay attention to his words as much. I can't even say it was anxiety. He didn't seem worried, more above the law. Exactly. That's how I felt. They are there telling you about a kidnapping when they finally tell you why they're there. And then when you are interviewed by the news, you doing, all of this and like it ain't no big deal. It's a big deal. You sitting here talking to the news, then he's talking about suing. Do you think he should sue? He might get a lawyer. I don't know. Should he sue? 2 of you in the chat said you don't think he's involved. Could it be they let Carlos go, but he's still on the radar? Because in the end, we don't know the motive. We don't know who's all involved. We don't know if there are more people involved, okay? And you gotta tie the suspect to the ransoms or prove they're not related. Also, what I gathered from him speaking is that the DoorDash is his girlfriend, wife. That's her job. He's just riding along for the ride. Very interesting. So he has a delivery job through the week. That's what the mother-in-law told us last night. So the DoorDash job is her job, and he's just riding along. Okay. Well, all I can say is, for her sake and his sake, you better hope they don't have video cameras of your car in that area street DoorDashing at 9:45, 9:30. And your phones were running or turned off. Take your pick. That's what the phones are going to prove. They were on, then turned off. Or they ping in the vicinity, hit the Wi-Fi of Mrs. Guthrie's home. Because I won't doubt she has Wi-Fi at her house, cable. A reporter gave him that idea to sue. I said to myself, they can bring you in, my dear, if they suspect. Yes, that is the law. But they have to read you your rights. That is always mandatory because that is the one thing that gets brought up in court. You didn't read the subject, his or her rights. You have to do that even if they are not a suspect or there's no arrest. You always read the person their rights. You have the right to remain silent or talk whichsoever. He might sue, he might not, I don't know. First, we gotta make sure he ain't got nothing to do with this. How about that? I'll play you the mother-in-law's conversation from last night. I hate to turn the camera around and it starts acting up.
Being searched where this subject lived, we're told. There was a traffic stop close by. This is the subject being questioned in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. This is Josephina.
Yes.
This is her house, and the subject is her son-in-law.
Yeah,
is that right?
yeah.
Tell me how this happened. Where was he when he was detained?
My daughter and him were, and the kids, my grandkids, were doing DoorDash when they got stopped here, and I don't know what kind of questions they asked them. But when we got home, I wasn't at home. When we got home, we found out that they took my son out. They went inside, they busted the doors from my house. They went inside and took my son to the living room and had him handcuffed and then got him outside. That's when the time that we got home and we asked what was going on and they couldn't say anything. And they said, and I asked him to have a search warrant to go in my house. And they said, we don't need a search warrant, we could do that if we want to. So I told him, yeah, I think you need a search warrant. Why did you break my door? You took my son in the wrong way. I mean, you heard him. His wrists were with the handcuffs.
Let me ask you, were you familiar with the Nancy Guthrie
No.
case? Had you seen that she was missing?
I saw it on Facebook, but since I don't know her, I didn't read what was going on.
Did they take electronic devices at all? Did they take your phone?
I don't have anything. They took my phone. They took my phone, my husband's phone, my daughter's phone, my grandkid's phone, and my son-in-law's phone.
Let me show you these pictures really quick, Josephina, of, just give me a second, I gotta pull them up on my phone. These are the pictures from outside Nancy Guthrie's house. This is who they're looking for. Did the eyes look like your son-in-law at all?
No, not at all.
Do you see the mouth?
Yeah, no, he doesn't look that.
Brian, can you ask what her son-in-law's name is?
It's Carlos. Carlos Palazuelos.
Sorry, what's his name?
Carlos.
Carlos.
Yes.
And what's his last name?
Palazuelos.
Okay.
I don't know, yeah, so.
And does he work in Tucson? Would he ever be in Tucson?
He's in Tucson all week. He works delivering boxes for like UPS and that. He works with a company. And I told him, you can call the company that he works there and verify that he's working. And
is your daughter also detained?
No, they just let my daughter and my grandkids go.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Josefina.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the latest here, Jesse. They took her phone too.
Yeah,
her husband's phone and her daughter's phone and obviously her son-in-law's phone. And they are searching her house right now. So this is sort of an unfolding situation.
And I'll get into this with Arthur, the fact that they didn't have a search warrant according to her. Do you know where Carlos is right now, Brian?
Do we know where Carlos is right now?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. They took my phone. I can't reach with nobody.
Yeah, we think he's being questioned.
Yeah, they already asked us a lot of questions about him. Like I said, I have nothing to hide. You can go in my house. You can search anything you want. There's nothing to hide. I don't know the lady. I don't know about the lady. I saw her on Facebook, but like I told you.
Was he ever violent? Any violence, Carlos?
No, he's a good guy.
Criminal history that you know of?
None of it.
No? Okay.
Is he from Tucson?
Brian, so I mean that's sort of the situation. She's obviously in shock. Yeah.
Did you show her photos of the person outside of Nancy Guthrie's house? The images, the mask, the backpack. Did she identify any of those items of clothing? And nothing. She doesn't see anything in that.
I did, and let me show you again. Have you seen these photos?
Yeah, the detective showed it to me right now.
And the backpack, does the backpack
He
look
doesn't
familiar?
have a backpack. He doesn't wear backpacks. He doesn't have either that. I don't know, gloves or something like that. I don't know what they're
gloves.
called.
You see the boots?
Yeah.
Let me get you a closer picture. You see this here? Look at the eyebrows.
Oh, they wearing it
The
down.
eyebrows are very specific. You see how they're very manicured?
No, that's not him. Nope. I can assure you it's not him.
Okay.
No, I can assure you. Like I told you, if I had my phone, I will show you a picture of it.
Okay.
I can show you.
Yeah, she wants to show me a picture, but she doesn't have her phone. But she seems very sure. I mean, it's hard to tell with the mask, but but we've said if you knew the person, you would be able to recognize them. So.
But Brian, if you don't mind asking her, does she know where he was January 31st, February 1st?
Do you know where he was January 31st? You know when this happened? It would have been last Saturday night.
Well, he works from Monday through Friday. He's home Friday. He stays home Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Goes back to work on Monday. So on the weekends, he stays at my house. He doesn't go nowhere. He stays with me.
So was he at your house?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was here at my house.
Are you positive?
Yeah, I'm positive. He was here at my house.
Because this would have happened late Saturday and early into Sunday morning, like around 2 a.m.
Oh
on
no,
Sunday.
he's always here for his kids on the weekend.
Could he have left in the night?
Oh no.
No.
I'm pretty sure. He has his van that work. He uses the van that's outside.
A van.
A van. It's broken. It's not working.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will.
Weigh in. He has a van that is broken. What color is the van? We heard there was a white van in the area parked on the street with no logo. What color is his van? Will we find out his van is white? I could have sworn I saw somebody say that in a comment under a video that the van was white. Not sure. How long has the van been broken? How does she know if he left or not? Because you have to say, I stayed up until 9:40, 9:45 on that Saturday. Or no, 2 o'clock, I guess, 2 o'clock. I'm thinking about when Nancy got dropped off. You'd have to say you were up around 2 o'clock, rather. 1 o'clock, because it'll take about an hour to get from where they live to Tucson. So she'd have to say, I was up at about 1 o'clock and I saw him in the living room, blah, blah, blah. I was up till 2 o'clock. He still was here on the couch or in the bedroom with my daughter. Weigh in, everybody. Do you believe this man is involved or not involved? What has been retrieved from the search of their house? I am puzzled about the search warrant business because I thought every home search is supposed to be a, search warrant signed by a judge, because I heard people discussing that last night. That the judge has to have some type of information to sign off on the warrant. But now we hear there was no search warrant of her home. I don't know how that's going to play out. Because you did tear up a door to get in her house. It is now Wednesday. We're 1 week and a half into this debacle of a woman, 84, frail, with no meds, pacemaker. Now we have to use the odds of survival. If she was thrown out alive, what would be the survival rate? Kept somewhere, but not tended to. See, you don't know. This is bad, bad, bad. If you have any information, 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 225-5324. There's a $50,000 reward. offered by law enforcement. Allegedly, there's movement in this stupid Bitcoin nonsense account. Allegedly, $300 was put into it, but TMZ won't confirm that. As I said before at the beginning of this live, I'm sick of TMZ. I don't want to hear any more about them. They need to remove themselves from this equation. If they get any information by email, drone, somebody walks in, go take it to the damn sheriff and the FBI. Stop going live and making videos about what Pookie Ray Ray told you, and then you don't want to tell us the rest of the damn story or what they said. I'm over this. These reindeer games, they are boring to me. They are outright boring and disgusting. Because see, this is an old saying. You have to be very leery of what you speak on and what you pass along, such as passing rumors, even passing a theory. So TMZ don't realize you are also a part of this problem. You are part of this nonsense pertaining to Nancy Guthrie. We've got people trying to milk the cow for free, okay, with this email nonsense, and you are the messenger of the nonsense. So you are a part of the nonsense, whether some of you want to agree or not. He is a part of this nonsense. Because so long as these goons out here know that they have a platform to spread the good news, they will continue sending in tips to TMZ about Bitcoin, offshore accounts, whatever. And from my understanding that this Bitcoin nonsense is public, you've got to hurry up and get in there and get the money out, but you have to ID yourself to retrieve the money. So how is this gonna work? You retrieving money on behalf of a woman that you allegedly took out her house and don't think it's not gonna be traced back to you for the FBI to kick your damn door in, whether you're over here or over in China. And if you're overseas, then America's gotta work with foreign government to get you apprehended over there. This is a mess. This is an outright mess. I don't think he's involved, but who knows, okay? A reporter gave him that idea. I said to myself, they can bring you in, my dear, even if it's suspect. Ann says, I'm not sure. We do not know enough. However, I question his demeanor. And well, she could simply be mother-in-law in denial, perhaps. Yes, I don't watch TMZ laugh out loud. They are all about ratings. Yeah, it's a gossip show. It's just a show to tell you about who's screwing who divorced who put what on Instagram, that type of nonsense, okay? You know, it's just a glorified version of The Sun and People Magazine and Us. That's all it is. Is Carlos involved? What did they find during the searches at his mother-in-law's home? She's sitting here saying she don't know anything about Mrs. Guthrie. I found it interesting the way she worded it. Oh, I saw her on Facebook, but I don't know her. So basically, I wasn't trying to figure out and continue reading anything about her because I don't know her. So you mean to tell me you got to know the woman to read the story? Well, guess what? I don't know Mrs. Guthrie. I don't know Savannah, but here I am. But there are a lot of people like that. I don't know her. It ain't got nothing to do with me. And you got to always remember, when they show you photographs of a person, who gonna sit there and say, yep, that's my son, that's my son-in-law, that's my daughter. You don't want them to go to jail. You ain't gonna say nothing. Nope, that's not them. Even if you know deep down inside, hot damn, they got them on camera. What a mess. What a mess. I'm going to check about this glove and I'm going to check out here, everybody. Thank you for following this network. I will put up some shorts pertaining to this information. It's bad. Really, really bad. 42 minutes ago, Whoever put this in the chat, thank you very much. Investigators find black glove during hunt for Nancy Guthrie's kidnappers. The Post was there. Published February 11, 2026 at 4:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is now 5 p.m. here on the East Coast. FBI agents have recovered a black glove from a roadside near Nancy Guthrie's house, potentially a major clue in the search for the masked thug who is suspected of abducting the 84-year-old woman, the Post can reveal. Detectives found the clothing item, which resembles the pair worn by the armed perpetrator caught on video about 1.5 miles from the home of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mother. And here's a brief picture of the glove thrown out, if you can see that. Lord have mercy. 1.5 miles on the roadside, everybody. So obviously the person threw the glove out after what? Leaving her house, pulled over, took the glove off, threw it out the window. Thank you, Ann. Thank you so very much for the super sticker. Thank you so much. Video and photos show at least one member of the FBI evidence response team pulling the glove from the low desert shrubbery in Guthrie's secluded desert suburb at the edge of Tucson. Authorities have not identified any suspects behind the presumed kidnapping, in which Guthrie seems to have been forced from her home, leaving a trail of blood behind. However, on Tuesday, the FBI released footage of a man with black gloves, ski mask, and a holster gun destroying the security camera on her door. Nancy has now been missing 11 days, and authorities still not naming a suspect. The footage was the first major breakthrough authorities have revealed after the arduous 10-day investigation. The same day, authorities detained a person of interest for questioning near the Mexican border. However, the person was released early this morning without charges. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Well, and once again, a third Guthrie ransom note has been sent to TMZ, demanding a Bitcoin in exchange for information. Thank you for the person who brought that information. And once again, the authorities are in Guthrie's neighborhood, combing for evidence and interviewing neighbors. Investigators will not comment when asked about potential piece of evidence. The New York Post is the source. So what else did the perpetrator throw out? You threw one glove out. Where's the other glove? Did they wear multiple gloves? Some people are suspecting that he wore multiple gloves. Are we going to find out? You're so welcome, sweetheart. Thank you for watching. Are we going to find out? Nancy is discarded in the general area, and when the person got done discarding her, he took the gloves off. Because you're not going to want to remove the gloves and you're still handling a body. So why would you take the gloves off when you still have the victim in your peripheral? I would assume if you were taking her to the next place to hold her for an alleged ransom, you're not taking off any gloves because you don't want any transference of DNA, touch DNA, any fibers getting on your sleeves, clothing. That would lead me to believe maybe she's discarded over in that general area. And then once the person was done discarding her, they took off the gloves and threw the gloves on the roadside. Is that true? Is Nancy Guthrie discarded in her general area of her home? The one thing about gloves, you do leave DNA, sweat. You sweat. You're wearing those type of gloves, you're gonna perspire. You've got to be able to know how to take the glove off without leaving fingerprints on the glove. Checkmate. So you're gonna have to stick one finger in gloved to pull this one off. And you can still leave some type of DNA print because you now gotta take your bare hand to flip the other glove off. Unless you take that glove that you pulled off and tug at the other gloved hand. What a mess. This is so jacked up. And I'm just gonna say for the record, I don't even know what the hell I have been talking about for 1 week and a half. I don't know who's behind this. I don't know anything about these ransoms. I'm tired of hearing from TMZ. I don't know anything about this Carlos fella. I don't know why someone would want to break in a woman's house and take her out of her house. I assume somebody knew her that did this because they took her out of the house. But if it's a sexual assault, I could see them taking her out. If they already have a criminal record and they penetrated Nancy and left semen. And perhaps that is where we're going with this case. We're looking for a sadist, rapist. Has nothing to do with Savannah, has nothing to do with her kids, has nothing to do with ransoms. Maybe we're talking about a guy who's just been combing the desert, looking for someone to sexually assault. He has a criminal record, his DNA is in the system, and he had to take the victim out, dump her, so the body could dissolve in the desert heat as not to exact DNA from the body. Damn. Sounds like she could be nearby, so wicked. Literally, I don't know what I'm listening to. This is diabolical. Yes, it is. You see, you have to try to come up with a reason. You know, I was listening to one person's podcast. Now, he's an ex-cop saying, everybody's coming up with their theory and all these people, they're experts, like you're supposed to be an expert. So how are you judging other people who were in the same line of work that you were once in? I don't really understand this YouTuber. Because you're making videos every day as well. So what the fuck are you talking about every day up here? Yeah, I'm saying it, and I ain't saying the person's name, but I don't understand their commentary. Some of you all are getting a little too cocky up here talking about true crime. You don't have a right to be questioning other people going on podcasts, speaking on their theories. Because a lot of them are very delicate in what they say. You know, they'll say allegedly, or I don't know, or it seems like. Some aren't pointing fingers at anybody directly because as some of them are saying, you really don't know what you're dealing with. You don't know what's got to do with the other. So you don't really know if this ransom stuff's got anything to do with the disappearance. They may be totally far removed. And really, it looks that way. That the person that went in and took Nancy, they're not the person asking for money. The people asking for money are some cuckoo birds who are bored and like playing on the internet. All I can say is it takes all kinds of people. And the one thing I noticed in that video footage is a person with no empathy, a person that did not mind laying your ass down with a GUN. And that's my take on this perpetrator. He was going to hurt someone. He was out to hunt. If it was not Nancy, it probably would be somebody else because you have to use deduction with what you're seeing. It's no longer hypothetical. You're seeing the person there goofing off with a weapon. Why are you there, number one? Why are you there with a weapon? Stay woke. You going in there with a weapon to harm the person or persons. You're not caring if there's a Rottweiler, a German Shepherd, a cougar in there. You're saying, if it is a threat in this address, I'm gonna pop them. I'm gonna pop them. Are you all not following this? He doesn't care. Whether he knew it was a camera, didn't know it was a camera, knew of Nancy, the dog, he didn't care. Him taking the weapon shows he was going to use force when he got in. So whether a door was unlocked, he jimmied the door, he took a crowbar with him, which was possibly in that bag. He was going in there to hurt the person. He was not going to leave them alive. For what? Think. There's blood in there outside. It ain't his. He was going to hurt her. He put his hands on her. Probably hit her with the butt of the gun. That's what the blood is. And now that I go back and look at the sidewalk from a video yesterday, there is some spots I saw with blood away from the door. So she made it to that sidewalk. Because in my previous commentary, I said, where's the trail of blood? Well, somebody went back out with video footage of that sidewalk, and I finally saw a round goblet of blood past the doorway, the walkway going out towards the circular drive. He has no empathy. Whoever we are dealing with, he is a straight, stone cold psychopath. He went with the intent to harm. That is the purpose of having the GUN, was to harm the occupants of the house. So it didn't matter if Savannah was there, the mama was there, the sister was there, a dog was there, he was gonna pop everybody on sight. The part that don't make sense is the obvious. Why are you there? What has this person done to you? Why did you put your hands on her? And where the hell is she? And if it's the theory I'm now coming up with, that we're dealing with a sexual assaulter, you already know the answers to the question. He can't leave behind a victim with DNA inside of the victim. Because maybe this is not what some of us thought it was about. And I've been hearing a lot of people say this on podcasts. It doesn't sound like it's about the money. What happened to Nancy? And it may not be. It may be somebody had a problem with her, sexual sadist, hired hit, robbery, gone bad, but still don't make sense to take the victim out. And then the other people came in and fed off of the tragedy of her missing. And frankly, we're never going to know the truth until we get an arrest. And naturally, when that person gets arrested, he or she is never going to tell how they chose Nancy, how they got in her home, what they did to her in the home, and how she ended up wherever she is. Because they are going to be silent. And it'll be up to the district attorney to put together what happened to Nancy Guthrie. This is a tragedy. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to check out of here. This case is a known fear for many people, especially women, girls. The fear of someone breaking into your home, climbing through a window, kicking the door in, sexually assaulting you, beating you, murdering you, kidnapping you, whatsoever. The fear of being violated in your own personal space, which you call home. I watched a video last night pertaining to two Caucasian girls who are roommates down in Georgia, the University of Georgia. They lived in an apartment and they had a camera in, I guess it would be the hallway, showing the maintenance man, who happens to be black, drinking their liquor. He drinks the liquor from the bottle, puts the bottle down, and falls out into the floor, drunk. It also shows him getting up, talking to himself, stammering, falling into the wall, saying, they better come back or they'll be dead, something, I'm gonna find you, something crazy. Next video. He is at the door. It is winter. You can see the smoke air coming out of his mouth, banging on their door at about 4 in the morning. No answer, no answer. And then finally, I think the girls are saying, what do you want? What do you want? They went through a battle with the apartment complex to get out of their lease. They said they didn't have another apartment available. The girls basically hired a lawyer to sue for this assault. They have a restraining order against the black guy. He's, I guess, incarcerated or went to jail. I don't know if he ever got out. They have a 1-year restraining order, one of the girls, or both. The gist of the story is the violation of home. That's where I'm taking this. You have an elderly lady in Arizona taken by force from her home, and nobody knows where she is. And we have all these stupid motherfuckers playing reindeer games over a ransom and Bitcoin, and a TMZ playing right along with them. We have 2 white girls who are trying to get an education down in Georgia, bickering back and forth with their landlord to do something about their fucking maintenance man who went into their apartment to take a hot water tank or refrigerator or something in there and decided to make himself at home by drinking up their liquor and passing out in their floor and then returning, knocking on their door saying he forgot to fix something. They were smart enough to let him know, you're not coming in here, bro, to fix nothing at 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I forgot the such and such and such and such. Well, you come back later during daytime savings hours. Luckily, he didn't have a key doubled up to put the key in the door and pretend he's fixing something at 4 a.m. This is what I'm talking about. It's blind trust. You trusting the Uber driver to take you to your location. You're trusting the people to bring you your food. They're not tampering with their food and not pushing you in your door and taking advantage of you, robbing you, so on and so forth, okay? You're hoping nobody is coming in to kick in your door. You're hoping that the people that are coming in to work, the pool, the caregiver, the people doing whatever they're doing at your house, they're not getting ready to come back and rob you. They're not gonna rob you while they're looking at you. You have to have blind trust dealing with people, but you don't know people. This is why a lot of people don't like fooling with people. They don't like fooling with their neighbors. They don't like fooling with new people in the building or the condo association, because once you open Pandora's box, you can't turn it back. And this is how most of us end up victims. It's being too nice, smiling too much, talking too much, asking questions. Sometimes you got to dial that shit down. I'm not saying walk around frowning, but dial it down, because you don't know what you could say to invite the bullshit. Now, as for these 2 kids, they're just girls living in their apartment. They didn't tell the maintenance man to drink up their liquor and fall down drunk and then try to come back to get back in their apartment. This guy here, Nancy didn't tell him, hey, come on back, take advantage of me, escort me out, God forbid, unalive me and dump me out in the desert. But you can be a victim, that's my point, unwillingly. You can invite trouble by just a smile, just a hello, doing a favor for someone, asking for a favor, because you don't know people. And that's the scary part of both of these stories. These girls had to trust somebody to come in and repair something in the apartment. Nancy is minding her business in her home alone, and somebody has gone in there and violated her. Don't know who the person is, but we can use deduction. She was violated. I can tell you're deeply affected by this, Queen. And anytime you need to take a break, then please do. We appreciate you bringing us the most up-to-date information. Thank you, Bonnie. My daughter's Apple Watch was stolen in my old apartment. My neighbor's Tupperware was taken. Thank God that's all that was done. Oh, Melissa, my goodness. Oh, my camera's getting dark for some reason. Exactly. And I am affected by this because it's scary to be listening at these stories, and I am a female, I am a woman. I live in a building where maintenance have to come in. God forbid they got to come in and bring outsiders in to do the plumbing or anything. You don't know people. That's my point. And at any point, you can be accosted coming out your house, going to a football game, going to a hotel, going to work, coming from work, going to the gym, going to the mall, leaving the mall. You don't know. And what you all have to remember, if it's not going to be you, it's going to be somebody. And that may be what happened to Nancy. She was just a random victim of a psychopath. Because what's going to be interesting, that all the theories that people have come up with, it's not what actually happened. This could be just random, or he watched, saw there was not a lot of movement, knew that there was a lady there, and did whatever. I'm almost leaning toward this being a sexual assault, because I have to tell myself, why did you take her out? And the only time, as I have said, you take the victim out is if you know the victim, they can ID you. You can be linked to the victim by one way or the other. And one way is sexual assault. 2, family, friend, neighbor, relative. That's my commentary. And yes, they're acting like this is a game, and it's bad. Let me go up here, pull down this. I don't know, somehow my screen went dark. I had to lighten it back up. Thank you. I'm not gonna hold you all. I've been on here for a while. I don't know how long I've been on, but I wanna thank you for your support. I want you to follow me on the Newsbreak app. I give commentary over there in videos such as here. What I'm doing right now is I'm transferring YouTube content to that network. I'm hoping they don't cite me for that, but it is mine and it's my original content, so they shouldn't cite me for it because it belongs to me. But it makes it easier instead of making, separate videos over there. And I've had a problem with uploading through the camera to their network for some weird reason. So I'm just taking my YouTube content and taking it over there. I've got a nice little following so far, not as many as 16,000, of course, but the videos are getting good views. One video is way over 100-something thousand views. I saw that last night. I was like, damn! And it's pertaining to Nancy Guthrie. So some people in America are tuning in to this case. And to the mother-in-law, let me say this to you. I'm not trying to be rude to you, but you don't have to know Nancy Guthrie to read the story, to watch content. You are an older person yourself. And you should care because one, you're a woman, you have a girl child, you have grandchildren, such as Nancy. You're also living in a house without a damn security system, so you should care. You're also living near the Mexican border, you should care. And another thing I didn't point out during this live, because I'm always trying to remember everything. Are these people United States citizens? Hell yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Carlos, are you a legal citizen? Because that'll be one way for them to get your ass. And ICE will be having you detained. Anybody paying attention? Is Carlos a United States citizen? What else has he and the family been doing? So you never know. And the one thing you got to remember, all this is an illusion. Makeup, jewelry does not mean you know Queen and I know you. Facebook pictures, IG pictures, videos, that don't mean shit. That Family Guy image is nothing compared to what he may be doing on his off time, which is going out into the fucking dark looking for a victim. So if it's not Carlos, you know it's somebody. So don't get hung up on what you're seeing on Facebook, because that's imagery. And you know this. That's what we put out and portray. That don't mean that's really us, how we're feeling and who we are. Because in the end, you know that we are all flawed. We've all made mistakes, been in trouble, broken the law, lied, stolen, manipulated, conned, maybe even sexual assault, whatever. I'm just saying. Because you got to remember, there are lots of people walking free that are not incarcerated no more. And they work certain jobs. Exactly what they want you to see. We have similar issues in Canada, just a smaller country, 40 million. Oh, I love the Canadians. I figured you were foreign because the way you had put a word had a U in it. Neighbors. Never get out of the car if there is a buggy in front of your car or your windshield wiper is up, drive off. Okay. Just reading you all's comments. I am affected being a woman and a daughter who a paramedic, comfortable walking downtown by myself. As a woman, we often go 2 by 2 at night, as you never know. Okay. Well, as most of you know who have followed me on this network, I've done a lot of things in life by myself. And I've done a lot of foolish things. As most of you know, I told you about the story when I went to Toronto, Canada many years ago. I met a guy in Chicago and went over to Canada. That was probably not a very bright idea, because anything could have happened and I would have been on a foreign land and nobody would have ever found out. No different than me talking and dealing with people here in America. You have to be careful, because you're going on good faith, as I call it, blind trust. You're dealing with people and you think they mean you well, but you don't know people. You don't know what can happen to you, whether you traveled overseas, you traveled out of town. We have a black boy now just found in a garbage can in South Carolina. He came down here to the South for a job opportunity. He met some black heathen on the internet. She's promising him money. I don't know what the hell she told him, but they found him in a trash can in front of an abandoned house. Okay? You have to be careful meeting people, period. So it don't matter if it's your town, a town over, New York, Idaho. It don't matter. The devil is busy everywhere. And I'm going to tell this little story. I really shouldn't share it, but I told you I was not going to be mingling with anybody new in the building just because I don't want any problems talking. But a new neighbor had knocked on the door last night. This is why I was watching all this Nancy Guthrie commentary. And he came in, sat for a little bit, talked, watched a little TV, and I'm watching him because I don't know, what he's about, and he seemed really nice, but he was a little bit, buzzed up. And then finally, he decided he was ready to go. So I helped him up because he looked like he was, a little lit. So I walked him to his apartment door, because at first he was like, "You think I need help?" And I said, "Yeah, you do." So I helped him to his apartment door. What I didn't like is when I walked him in, I didn't go in the apartment. He walked in the door. I saw a TV, a little small TV in the floor. And he lied to me. When he came here last night, he said, "I don't have cable." So I took it as he didn't have a TV. I don't know why I thought he didn't have a TV. Because naturally you can have a TV but don't have cable. But he alluded to the fact that he didn't have a TV either. Okay? He said, no, I don't have a TV. So I said, well, wait a minute, the place you moved from, what were you doing there without a TV? And he specifically said, I don't know. Why would you lie about not having a television? That's what I don't understand. I can see you telling me I need to get my cable on, because that's how the conversation started when he came in the apartment. He said, I got to get my cable situated. So I kept saying, okay, but it should have dawned on me. See, Queen wasn't on top of her game because one, I was tired and I really wasn't up for company. I should have picked up that he had a TV, because how are you worrying about cable without a TV? So see, I wasn't on my game last night because I was tired. But I caught him in the lie once I walked into his door and I saw TV in the floor. And the first thing I said was, and I said it to him, I said, I thought you said you didn't have a TV. And then he looked at me, you know, I can't remember what he said. It was a very strange situation. Very strange. Well, I'm going to say this and I'm going to check out of here. The only reason why I went ahead and opened the door and let him in is because I had got my SIM card in the mail yesterday and I needed an alternate phone to use to, you know, set up the SIM card in my phone. And he kindly let me use his phone, you know, when he was outside. We were outside the building yesterday. So maybe he just felt comfortable enough, you know, to stop by because he remembered the apartment number. And yes, I always preach about being leery of letting people, you know, come in your home and you go to theirs because you don't know people. But once again, blind trust. I took a chance, let him in, but you should know I was on guard. I was watching, making sure any funny moves, anything happens to me. Because like I said, the conversation started off with him being frustrated about not having cable. And it should have dawned on me that he had a TV. Because wouldn't a person say, oh, I do have a TV, I have an antenna, but I don't have cable? He never said that. So when I went to his door to, you know, make sure he got in, I could see the TV when he opened the door. It was playing, and there was something on the TV playing. And I didn't really try to focus to see if there was an antenna hooked up or any of that. Because I asked him, I said, well, do you have a Wi-Fi box? No, I said, do you have a Roku box? He said, no. I asked him before that, do you have a Roku TV? He said, no. So it's not like I wasn't asking all the questions. He specifically said, no, I don't have a Roku TV. He says, I'm starting over, brand new. Exactly what he said. I'm starting new. So if you're starting new, and I'm asking you, hey, well, maybe your parents can give you buy you a new TV. You just left Walmart today. Maybe dad, mom can buy you a TV. I also said somebody's brothers and sisters. I said, well, maybe they can get you a TV. If they got a spare, do they have spare TVs? He said, yes. I said, well, ask them, can you borrow one of their TVs? So I lined it up. So at any point he could have said, Queen, I got a TV. Like I said, door open, see the little small TV sitting in the floor. There was a program playing. So he did have a TV and had something hooked up to it to show. Either it was a DVD player or antenna. I didn't notice a DVD player down by the TV because it was a little small TV and it was sitting in the floor from where I glanced. This makes me not want to deal with him because I thought he was, a nice person when I first met him last week, and then, yesterday, him, letting me use the phone while he was outside waiting on his ride or whatever. But to lie about not having the cable, not having a TV, and then I see you have a small TV, I don't know where to take that. Hopefully he won't expect help from you. It starts new. Well, Julia, I don't think he needs my help. He has family. He's the baby of the family, allegedly. And I saw him getting picked up by his father. So he has help. So he shouldn't be needing anything from me, because he did mention the other day that the parents, sister and mom, were coming over to help him set the apartment up. So he won't be needing anything from me. But I will say this, I will not be opening the door to him, because it was later last night when he stopped by. So it kind of threw me off. The knock at the door, I thought it was somebody else that I knew, from my past was knocking at the door, and I thought, how the hell did they get in the building? So that's what threw me off when I heard the, I was like, so when I was at the peephole and saw this white guy, I thought, oh, it's my neighbor. But my thing is, we all need friends. We all need company sometimes. And sadly, the only way you're going to get to know people, you're going to have to be alone with them at some point. I don't care if you meet them somewhere, you go to their house, you let them come to your house, you meet them in a park. At some point, you're going to be alone with the person. And so I don't know if maybe because he was buzzed up, because he had a few little beers, so maybe he was buzzed up and just don't remember. But he was answering all my questions and talking coherently. So that's what made it strange. Once I got to the apartment door and saw, okay, there's a TV in here. And I said it to him right there. I said, why did you lie and say you didn't have a TV? And I can't remember what he said. I can't remember what his response was. But anyway, I walked off and went back to my apartment and mind my business. With age, I learned to go with my gut. The gift was it was figured out pretty quickly. We don't always see it right away. Yes. They found a glove one night. Yes, I knew. I just reported that before you came on. Did they make her walk to her car? Well, I think nothing is new. I think it's what I've talked about before on this network. She was put in the car at the drive and taken either alive, half alive, or deceased, and dumped out near her house. Because the fact that they found the glove would tell me he dumped her and then came back to the car, or was in the car driving and took the gloves off and maybe threw them out the window while driving. Because it doesn't make sense for you to be dealing with a person from their house to the car to disposal site and be gloveless. You're gonna still have those gloves on. You only take a glove off when you're done. I think most of you know this. It's just like when you decide to paint, color your hair, do whatever you're doing with gloves. What do you do when you're done with the gloves? When you're done cleaning, you take the gloves off and you throw them out. You throw them in the garbage can. Well, I think he dumped her, disposed of her, and then he threw the gloves off. So Nancy's out there. Nancy's out there. I think that's obvious. I asked a lot of questions as well for consistency. Oh, you're fine, sweetheart. Any DNA weird? Well, there's DNA at the house, Anne. So this goes back to why I said before, you always have to read the details. When people don't want to tell you everything, which naturally this is an investigation, everything's not going to be revealed because they don't want the person to know, what they've gathered. There's something in the details. So the fact that the sheriff won't tell you what was in the room, in the house, you got to think to yourself, it's only certain things that the DNA can be. That's sweat, saliva, semen, urine, blood, and fecal matter. And whose is it? Hers, his, them? Because like I said, most crimes are windows of opportunity. Oh, yes, of course, skin too. Sorry about that. Yes, that's true. A lot of crimes are windows of opportunity. You see something, ooh, I like that, I want that. So, ooh, let's see if I can steal it or get it. You understand what I'm saying? Then it could be the hunt, which that's what this case could be. This was a hunting game. I want this person, I've seen them, I'm attracted to them, I gotta get in and get what I wanna get. Said, don't really know. And that's the scary part, is the not knowing. And we're using deduction with them out here searching for her near her home, the daughter's home. And that would lead you to believe that perhaps they know something else. Because you've been over there at the daughter's house, you're over there in the neighborhood, now you're back over here to Nancy's house, you're back over here in the neighborhoods looking for her, it'll make you wonder if this is a recovery and not for a live person. And I think most of you know, she probably wouldn't be alive in the hot heat. Come on. She had a heart condition and she's just lying out there in the desert. No food, no water, no shelter. I think with the glove, if indeed this is the glove, if he threw the glove out when he was done discarding her. So I think I would draw from that. Can the family ask to have the DNA? Oh, not those that when they're ready. If it comes back that what they find in the house is hers, they're gonna tell it eventually. If they find an unknown DNA, they're gonna tell it. And eventually they're gonna test the glove to see if it belongs to whomever, if it's in the database for offenders, that's first and foremost. And also, ding, 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 Mr. Carlos. I won't doubt they took Carlos' DNA. Because why put him through all that last night and not take his DNA? Will we find out it does belong to Mr. Carlos, the one they let go? Stay woke. Because, you know, they can let you go to see what you're gonna do. See where you're going. They do that. We've seen that. Follow you to see if they can get more evidence. Why wouldn't they ask him no questions? What do you mean? So the family has no say in what goes to the news? No. Because you see, once everything's put in the affidavit, eventually the district attorney releases that to the public, the arrest affidavit. So the arrest affidavit is going to show what they gathered to arrest that person. Some things may be redacted for privacy issues, such as other witnesses, and they don't want their names released to the public, which you saw that with the Korberger case and the Idaho 4 case. The witnesses' names were redacted as to protect their privacy. But when the district attorney decides to bring forward the arrest warrant, certain details are going to be mentioned, data, phone pings, DNA, all that. It will be mentioned. She probably died of fright. How scared she must have been. Yes, Savage. Carlos didn't he say they didn't ask him anything, just left him sitting there? That's weird. Oh, that's what you're talking about, Melissa. Yes, that is what he said. They didn't ask him anything. I guess they were waiting for the FBI to show up. I don't know what the FBI was doing. You know, they have been busy. So maybe that's what happened. They followed him, pulled him out, sat him in a car, waited until the FBI showed up. And then, too, it could have been a waiting game. Let's see what he says while he's sitting here in the patrol car. Let's see if he folds, if he breaks. Well, he didn't. But as I told you all earlier, what I found interesting from Carlos is that he said, I don't think they have any evidence against me, which is a very odd thing to say for an innocent person. Well, why would they have any evidence? You didn't do anything. So you always pay attention to what a person says, because that's something I have heard many times in police interrogations. You ain't got no evidence. They ain't got no evidence. That's not something an innocent person would say. You know you're innocent. It's not anything to discuss, quite frankly. I want you to think about that right now. You are being interrogated by the police, FBI, and you're going to tell them you don't have no evidence. Think about how that sounds. You don't got nothing. Hey, when you get over with it, you ain't got nothing on me. Our news is more restricted. We have expression slightly different than your constitution. Thanks, you're welcome. You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing on me. See, that sounds defensive. Does it not? You ain't got nothing on me. Would you say that while being interrogated? I want you to think about that. You are being interrogated. You're finally told why you're there. Why would you say, you don't got no evidence against me? You're innocent. So if you're innocent, of course they wouldn't have any evidence. Deflecting, defensive, because you don't know what else to say, but you ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing because I wore gloves. I think if we try to think about what poor Nancy is going through this whole week, getting interrogated at this point should be a minor inconvenience. Let's put ourselves in her shoes. I don't want to put myself in her shoes, Bonnie. She must be so afraid and uncomfortable. I found that odd that why I said his face was not congruent with being concerned. His face, yes. And I'm glad you said that because, see, everybody's been chopping up this whole case. The brothers, the sister, how they're acting, the videos, who's doing this, who's crying, who's winking, blah, blah, blah. Now you finally get somebody and you're looking at him the same way. Well, what did he do? What did he say? Da-da. It's this is what tells it. What you say, what you don't say. The mother-in-law didn't seem concerned because she don't know Nancy. He didn't seem concerned in his interviews either. He just seemed like a kid. You know, like when you're talking to young people and they don't want to hear what you got to say and they're all over the place bebopping and bouncing around and they, okay, that's what I felt for him. Like, why are you bothering me? Now, I don't know. I ain't never seen her. I don't know if I've been to her house or not. I don't know. Like an arrogant, deflective way, instead of being a gentleman. No, I don't recollect that I've been to Nancy's home, Mrs. Nancy's home, or the lady's home. I don't know for sure. I can't remember. What's the street address? But let me tell you something. They're going to stay on top of this. As his mother-in-law said, she's saying he didn't do nothing. He stayed at the house with her. You can go check his job. They're going to go check his job, mommy. They're going to check his job. They're going to check the entire itinerary of how many packages were delivered in Nancy's peripheral dating back a month or more. They're going to see how many runs he did on her street, to her house, blah, blah, blah. DoorDash. Did she ever order DoorDash and his wife was the driver and the delivery driver? They may have let the wife go, but the point is he's been over there. And that's how the police got a hold of him, through geofencing, okay? So see, he's sitting here trying to put it together. How did they know I was over there? because he's acting like he's confused, and maybe he is. But that's how they found you, Carlos. Your phone was pinging over there. A car you were driving or truck was seen over there. So they're going to check his job to see any packages delivered to her street or to her address. How many times? Stay woke. Also, this wife doing DoorDash. How many times did she deliver food in the neighborhood, Nancy's house? Did they ever deliver food to Nancy? The fact that Nancy supposedly couldn't move, I would expect Nancy would order DoorDash or dinner delivered or whomever. And another thing I meant to tell you all, because it's hard to keep up with everything. The situation about the church, allegedly it was verified last night that it was not church. A few ladies go to a certain member's house to watch a New York broadcast where Savannah goes to church in New York. And they meet up to watch the broadcast, and Nancy did not show up. So there's the clarification about the church business. Nancy did not show up at a church member's house to watch a church live stream. And that's allegedly how this got started, for somebody to call her family to say Nancy didn't show up for church. They were at somebody's house. They were supposed to meet at somebody's house. The ladies, I guess, take turns entertaining each other to watch a live stream out of New York. Well, that's right. And we know DoorDash can run late. Now, not the deliveries. They got a cutoff time, those delivery trucks with packages, UPS, FedEx type stuff. But DoorDash can run late in the morning, depending on how late the restaurant stays open. So we've talked about Carlos. We've talked about the Bitcoin, which makes no sense. I still say it's fraud. And also, we've talked about now the church situation. We now know she was supposed to be going to someone's house for church and she didn't show up. Carlos has been released. I've talked about his demeanor, his wording. You all have chimed in about your feelings on that. Some of you don't believe Carlos is involved. And I've also told you my new theory that perhaps this is not a higher hit, family-oriented crime, that perhaps this is a sexual assault of an elderly lady. Perhaps the perpetrator likes older women. Perhaps he has a criminal background. He's in the database in or on Nancy Guthrie. Hello, T. Conky. Oh, from Toronto, wonderful. Yes, my favorite city in Canada, Toronto. I went there many years ago, 2002, February 2002. When I went to Toronto, it was very cold, but I enjoyed myself. I loved it. Very clean city. I enjoyed myself, thoroughly enjoyed myself. First time I ever paid, went to the movies, and how much was it? Like $21, $22 for two people? I thought, oh my God, it was expensive. And Coca-Cola wasn't $1 then either at the dollar store. But yes, beautiful city, beautiful city. And I would love to go back. Many places I'd like to visit in Canada, you know, all the way from east to west. I'd like to take turns going to different cities in Canada. That's my commentary. I've been on this air a while. I want to thank you for following this network. I'm going to upload a short, and I'm going to try to put everything in this short, and so I don't have to do different shorts. I'm going to try to mention everything that I just mentioned in this live in the short, and then I'm going to take it and transfer it on over to the news break. Follow me over there. You don't get to see me live because they have not set it up to where we can go live, but we can post videos and post to the network. Yeah, they need to pay us is what they need to do. You got to have a lot of views to get monetized over there on Newsbreak. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. Conky came in late. Thank you for your time, everybody. Prayers for Nancy Guthrie. Once again, you're coming in late. A glove has been found on the side of the road, a mile, 1.5 miles from Nancy's home. 1.5 miles. A black glove has been found on the side of the road. I do not know if it is the infamous glove used. Naturally, they will do DNA to get a sample. We will see if somebody's name comes up in criminal record, sex offender registry. Hopefully there's a hit on the glove. Thank you, Bonnie. You're welcome, sweetheart. Hopefully there's a hit. You know, somebody said this the other day in the chat. Somebody said, I think we're all going to be shocked at who the perpetrator is. Maybe it won't be that we're shocked at the person, but more or less the motive. Because this person is brazen, because he went there with a weapon. And as this one guy said on a podcast, he said, why would you trust a person that would violate your mother with a gun, and he hit her? So you can't trust him on any level, ransom or no ransom. That's my commentary. Thank you all so much. God bless you. You've been listening to the Vault Excel, everybody. Thank you.